So I don't know about you, but in today's age, content is truly the name of the game. Ownership, monetization, fairness, it's all priority when making content, when distributing it, when pushing it out to the masses. But do you feel like these social media sites, do you feel like these platforms are truly on your side? Bob will be the first to tell you that after attending many film festivals, he noticed that a lot of these filmmakers spent considerable amounts of time curating such amazing pieces of work, and oftentimes they had nowhere to go afterwards. So he decided to take matters into his own hands, keeping fairness in mind, keeping ownership in mind, keeping you at the forefront of your content, and he made his own platform. He made his own platform where you come in, you call the shots, you are in full creative control from start to finish. And what better feeling is that? So without further ado, enjoy episode 206, Your Video, Your Rules. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Down to Business podcast here with Tamar Turner. Now, I would argue that every episode, every interviewee that I have, I definitely need to hear it. I want to hear it. I want to kind of get into it. I want to push it out to you guys. But Bob and what he's here to talk about today, capital NEED, I need this conversation today. You know, as someone in this field, as someone in this industry, I feel like even from just going through his bio, from the website, from even what I saw on his end, I feel like he's trying to simplify life for a lot of us out there. And I feel like he's taken something that can be very overwhelming, can be very time consuming, can even be just misconstrued depending on how you get introduced to it. And he's really just trying to give you a tailored process. But obviously what works to you, what works to what you may do and what you may share. Now, obviously, I'm walking on eggshells here because I don't want to spoil any surprise. I really want Bob to take it from start to finish, and I want him to give you guys everything he has. But before we get into that, Bob, how's everything on your end? How you doing today?
I'm great. Everything's good. I got my dog over here. He's relaxing calmly, and everything's a good day so far.
I love to hear that. Sounds like we got a little audience for us too, so I love to hear that. Now, I know we're going to have a host of different people tapping in today. We're going to have some people from my side. We're going to have some people from your side, but we're also going to have my favorite within that. And we're going to have people who are finding out about the both of us for the first time, you know, in some form or in some fashion. So to put everybody on the same playing field, to bring everybody up to speed, can you just do two things for me? One, just tell me a little bit about yourself. And then two, just tell me what brings you on the Down to Business podcast today.
Sure. Well, I'd started out life as an engineer. I ended up getting a bachelor's, then a master's in engineering. Wasn't happy, wanted to start over, and then went to film school and became a media guy. So then I spent the next several decades of my life in the world of film and television, working in different jobs as a producer and eventually a host and TV reporter. I worked for Bloomberg Television. I actually interviewed Donald Trump on live television, but long before politics. That was back when he was just a casino CEO, and he was on The Apprentice then too, so he was famous, but nothing to do with politics. But I did interview him. And then I did comedy. I worked for the Onion News Network when they did videos, which was kind of the OG form of fake news, back before fake news was a term that people used a lot. So I worked for the Onion. Maybe the kids out there don't know about the Onion News Network, but so I did a lot of media jobs. I ended up making, I guess I'll just take you up until I ended up making a documentary film, which was about corruption in public education. And the film did really well by any standards for an independent film. It really kind of almost blew up. I don't want to, exaggerate it, sound like I'm exaggerating too much, but it ended up with an 11-city theatrical release in theaters. It had Warner Brothers distribution. It ended up on Netflix for about 5 years. It's not there anymore. Yeah, there's the it's the beat poetry snap you're giving me there. And so I had this film that did really well, and I was going around in film festivals around the country with several national tours showing my film and talking about it. And I would realize in these film festivals that there would be other filmmakers there, and they would have nowhere else to go with their film after it showed in fact, a lot of them were lucky they got picked up by a single film festival. They would invite all of their friends and relatives and maybe the actors who were in their film to come see it, etc. And then they'd have this big one night, and they'd all just go home. And they'd have a few glasses of wine or beer or some other beverage, et cetera. But it was I was thinking to myself, why isn't there a way to monetize, which is a fancy word for make money from these films that people spent not only years of their life sometimes, but sometimes half their life savings. I mean, people sometimes spend a lot of money and effort to create these films, and they could just put it on YouTube. But basically, they couldn't make a penny after that. And I thought someone should make or create a way where it's fair to all sides, but you nevertheless could set a price for your work. And then in the era of social media, we have a way to send links to our friends that are pretty efficient, as well as maybe links we could advertise to a potential new audience of people who might want to see our work. Why isn't there a way to make money from this work? And that kind of really stuck in my mind for a long time after that. And I know we're in an era when everyone thinks all content should be free. YouTube is free, and TikTok is free, and Instagram's free. But I sort of feel like wanting to. And but by the way, there's always a place for that. I release free content myself all the time. There's nothing wrong with releasing free content. I'm just saying there should also be a way to make some money from content if that's what you choose, and if there's an audience for it. If there's no audience for it, that's on you. I guess, whatever. Maybe go get better is what I would say to any of us, And so, but if there is an audience for work, why isn't there an easy way to set a price for it and make money from it? So that was the genesis of this company that I've created. It's called, you can pronounce it one of two ways. Some people say VidaFair, as in life that's fair, Vida as VIDA, fair, F-A-I-R, VidaFair. Some people say VidaFair, as in video affair. So it's sort of a double entendre. It means life that's fair and a video affair. But at any rate, the idea is a fair way to monetize video. So if you can think of like the way in Airbnb, someone owns a condo and they can set their own fee to rent their condo out to make money back from their condo asset. Why not have a way where they can set their own fee for content and they make money back from the content that is their asset? So that's kind of really our business model. It's a way to let people, they set their own fee they want to make on each rental of their work. Hopefully they don't set the fee too high, because then they probably won't get a lot of rentals, but they set their own fee they consider fair. They then can promote it to their social media followers. They can advertise it. They can put it in an email blast. They can put the link on websites, etc. And that's what we are. We're a way to help content create. Now, that could be an independent filmmaker, but not just filmmakers. I know I started with that example, which is how I kind of got the idea. But it could be any kind of video that people want to monetize. So you could be a comedian with funny stand-up comedy on a video, or skits that are funny, that you do as a comedian. It could be anything, for cooking show, a yoga instructor, any kind of video. There's no limit to the kind of video that ought to be able to be monetizable. And so I really sort of think of it as, if YouTube allowed a pay-per-view option, that's kind of what VidaFair is. So we have an iPhone app. Anyone watching could download our app right now, the VidaFair. You can download it from the Apple the App Store, or the Google Play if you have an Android, or you could go to our website, VidaFair.com, and you could see a bunch of works. We're a startup. We're relatively new. So we only have about 500 pieces of content right now. But we're now trying to scale. Basically, that's the stage we're at right now. It's why I'm doing publicity for the companies, to get people to know about us, because, of course, a lot of people never heard of us at all. And I like to try to, get the opportunity out there. That way, if people think that it's viable for them, they have a way to find us.
And the timeliness of this episode and this recording is amazing, just because, one, I actually was, a few of my followers have been posting things recently that have kind of been blowing up, in a sense, or going viral, as we call it. And it's just like, to see a lot of these different websites and their monetization rules, and just to really even be considered, it's very hard. Like, I know some people have even given a lot of feedback. Some of the even popular content creators have reached out to these sites to let them know, like, you have to loosen these laws up a little bit, or loosen these guidelines and these ramifications. As you said, 500 pieces, that's still no small feat, even on the smaller scale. But I also think about people who are still just building and in those beginning stages, and how hard, but how crucial they are. It's a thing with content creators where they want you to be the most consistent, and you're getting the least feedback. And that's sometimes so hard, because it's just like, you don't know if you're doing well. You don't know if people are resonating with it. You don't know if people love it, but you're just being told, keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing until that thing hits. So, after a while, we're human beings. We can get exhausted. We can just feel like, wow, what's going on? Am I being noticed? Am I happening? I'm tired. I want results. So I love that. But I really love the play on words with that. And I was so glad that I didn't pronounce the company name. I let you do it first, because I needed to really really know that. But I'm glad that people are mispronouncing or pronouncing it how they want. But I love the meaning behind it, because something that I'm big on too with here is just intention, and realizing, one, why people come into business, why people do certain things, but also just the realm of everything that comes with it, from the naming to the mantra to the colors to who you're serving to what you're doing. And I think that that's so important. As you spoke to, you noticed from a festival that some people, that was all they had, that was all they were doing. They were just coming, enjoying themselves, leaving, and there was so much content out there, unwatched, unpublicized, unmonetized, everything of the sort. And it was just like, no, there has to be a better way for this, and there is so much undiscovered talent out there. Part of the reason why I do the podcast was just because I really took a step back one day and realized how many people I was surrounded by: business owners, entrepreneurs, people in their own lane. And I think COVID propelled a lot of that, but it wasn't until I really stopped and I really made the announcement and told people what I was doing that everybody just started to come. But I would definitely say, as a content creator now, I realize just how difficult it can be. As somebody with a media background, not as extensive as yours, but as you were going through it, I was just smiling, because I'm just like, wow, he was going through that trajectory. He was going through that totem pole, being in the production room, having to write things, having to go cover the stories, having to go here, do the interviews and do everything. It's a lot, but it also teaches you everything that goes into it. And it teaches you that once you branch off, really what to do, what to start. Because a lot of times people who may not be as versed media wise or communication wise, that can be a very hard side of the business: marketing, PR, where it's hard if that's not something that you're used to. If you just want to be the type of person to make the content and put it out there, well, I got some news for you, that it's going to take a lot more than just that. So the first thing that I kind of want to get into though with this was when establishing yourself, when becoming a business, did you always kind of know that you wanted to go the route of the app, of the website, of having people do it that way? Were you really trying to build a community first, and then did you kind of move it all over? Did you kind of start with this, and then was it a word of mouth? What were really the beginning stages like to really getting VidaFair off and getting it out there so that people can know about it and tap in with it?
Well, with our kind of business model, you really need to build a back end first of basically code. You need to hire programmers to do this, because if you think about it, it's a more complicated platform than, I don't know if you say, than, certainly than any, but it's than many, because of the fact that we have to have a video streaming capability to be able to send video that is adjusts to the bit rate of the receiving device. So there's complexity in being able to send video correctly. We need a banking connection because we're a monetization website. We are handling money. People need to be able to charge an amount to rent a film, and other people need to be able to pay an amount to be able to rent the films, and we need to go through credit cards, etc. So that aspect needs to be there. And then not just a website, but also apps. You need to imagine that you build an iPhone app and an Android app, and they both have to interact with the web version of the same username to make sure it all works together. So we had a fair amount of back-end work to do before we could offer any value, I think, to anybody. And so so how did we start is basically by hiring programmers and starting to have meetings and having and building it out, and basically then getting accounts and approvals from both Apple and Google to get our apps up and running. So that was kind of our first phase, was not really community building, more computer code building.
And that's such important insight, because it also just lets me know, and it also should be not even a red flag per se, but just an eye-opening thing for other people listening, because you have to realize that for everybody listening, Bob and the team, they didn't even really have a community as they were building this, so it was just like, we could build all this out. We still have to take that extra step to get it out there to people, to make this. So, you were essentially making something, building a foundation, not even knowing what it was going to look like from the public side of things. Once you really put it out there, are people going to receive this? Are people going to resonate with this? And if they do, how swiftly does that happen? Because there's one thing to have something, to put something out there, but there's another thing for the response and the receive rate. So to go into, but like you said, with video, with content, with everything, there's so many different agreements, copyrights. Is it playable? I've posted some things that were not even playable in certain countries because of maybe the music group that it was by, or maybe the production rights or things like that. And it's stuff that it's just like, these apps have to have. Otherwise, they risk themselves. And the last thing you would want to do was build such an immaculate conception, in a sense, or immaculate foundation, just to be told, oh, well, you guys are violating this law, that can't work. That's not going to happen. We have to bring that back. And especially being in the media side of things, that can happen very, very fast. The less, the better. So I also think about too, like, okay, you were pretty much building this. You were going through the foundation, you were going through all the back end stuff as you spoke about, and really just figuring out what was needed to be done to get it off the ground, to get things rolling. Was there ever a thing, because I know you said that this is something that's open to almost everyone. Was there ever a point where, or is there a point where, is anything on here censored, or is there anything that you can't do, or that from a because I think about people who content create, I think about content creation as the umbrella and what can be on this side of the spectrum versus this side of the spectrum. But I can also think, what could cause some division, what could cause some, just friction a little bit like that. So with thinking about your platform and what you guys offer to the masses, is there anything out there that is just a no-go or is just not allowed?
Yeah, it's a great question because it's a complicated. Ultimately, it ultimately is subjective to be able to answer that. From the beginning, I'm a free speech guy. Whatever, like it or not, like I tend to be the kind of person I've always believed in. The concept of free speech is you don't just defend the speech that you like; you have to defend the speech that you don't like. If you're really a free speech guy, I have to defend the right for Tamar to go on the air and say that I'm an idiot, and I'm a loser, and I'm the dumbest guy in the world. You have to be able to trash me, and I have to be able to say, yeah, you have the right to trash me if you're going to be a free speech guy. So that's kind of where I start with this. At the same time, we didn't want to be porn, for example. So we ended up with five. We have 5 flags, we call it, for content, and part of our, the word fair is in our name. Fairness, as I like to say, is in our name. VidaFair, and so we like to create things mostly to benefit the content creators in a way. In other words, we don't claim any ownership over any of the content, which the other sites, believe it or not, if you read these terms and conditions, it's crazy. Some of them claim all kinds of insane copyrights and stuff over some picture you upload to Instagram and they own it or something like that. It's unreal. So, but we never wanted any of that. We basically wanted to be, if you started with a blank canvas and you created the fairest system you could from a really idealistic perspective, what would that look like? And so that's what we feel we've done with VidaFair. But yeah, so our flags. So we have a flag against porn. We have one against copyright infringement. You can't just upload the latest Avatar movie or the latest Top Gun movie and just start monetizing it on our platform. We have a flag against doxing. I can't say, hey, everyone, here's Tamar's address. Why don't you show up to his house tomorrow? We have one against child abuse, we call it, which we just put it that way. And then we have, let's see, so porn, copyright, child abuse, doxing, and one more, threats. We call it just threats. So basically, you're not allowed to make... there's a Supreme Court standard called the clear and present danger standard, but it's basically you can't threaten people in real life. But apart from that, we don't have any ideological censorship, in other words, that we apply. Some purists will say censorship only applies to government, but whatever, people understand what I mean. We don't try to limit content based on ideas. So that's kind of where we start out on that point of view. But yes, and it's handled through flags. So like any user can flag a particular piece of video on our platform for one of those reasons I just articulated, and then we would then manually go in and investigate to see if there was a problem, and then we would make a decision. So that's how we handle, interestingly enough, someone told me anecdotally, I haven't ever even confirmed this or not, but I'll just tell you, they said that OnlyFans kind of started out trying to be actually ended up starting out trying to be kind of a clean site, and then decided, well, there's a lot more money in this kind of sex part, but we don't kind of really want to be that. So, but that said, we're open to kind of, controversial podcasts or movies that are edgy or all kinds of stuff like that.
Got you, most definitely. And I like that in part because I feel like, as you said, there are some times and there are some instances where these sites or these companies, they want your content or they want to provide you that exposure or help you monetize. But as soon as they realize the nature of it, they're cutting this, they're cutting that. They're saying, oh, well, no, well, we wanted that. side of not this side, the minute you really start to give them the real, aside from all those immediate flags, people still can get very finicky and picky as to what's on their platform, what they're promoting. And then, as you said too, the ownership behind it. You have to read the fine print, these contracts, send it off to somebody, double check it, read it again, because these companies will almost have you sign over everything that you own and you won't even realize it because you
crazy.
Read a couple of pages and you think it sounds standard. Okay, good. But here,
and let me just talk a little bit more on that. We don't connect anybody to any long-term subscriptions they don't want. Anybody can. We don't have any subscriptions at all. In fact, everything on our platform is pay for this right now or not. It's up to you. But there's no future payments that you're agreeing to make on our platform ever. That's whether you're a viewer or whether you're a content creator and that you're providing content. Either way, I hate subscriptions. I hate forgetting to unsubscribe to things I no longer watch. A lot of times subscriptions are a way to trick people into paying money for stuff that they're not using. It's like the old gym membership kind of thing where they know some large percentage of people will like work out once or twice and never go back to the gym. I hate all that stuff, but especially with content. Especially subscribe, and while there, I suppose, will always be a place for a Netflix subscription or an HBO subscription or these kinds of services, that's not who we wanted to be. I mean, even online, there's Patreon, which is a subscription version of a way ordinary people can monetize content. They might be the closest thing to our business model, in the sense that they appeal to everyone. They're not a gatekeeper platform, in other words, where you've got to impress certain people with your content. However, they're a subscription model. We are not. We are a la carte. Now, you can buy our tokens, which we call grain tokens. You can buy a batch of them. Therefore, you spend less per rental, but you're deciding to do that once. And then if you do it again later, you do that once then. There's no recurring charge, in other words, ever. And I get very excited about this because I think this, you can look hashtag subscription fatigue, and there's like a bunch of people who are tired of the subscription model. Adobe, for those photographers out there who use Photoshop, several years ago converted to a subscription model. And I don't use Photoshop for that reason. That's the reason. Anyway, so ours, VidaFair, is a non-subscription platform. You can pay if you want to rent a film or rent a video. You can pay a la carte, meaning you just pay one amount once. Or if you want to buy our tokens, you can buy a batch of tokens, then you pay less per rental. But either way, no charge ever repeats. So I wanted to make that point.
Got you. And so to make sure that I understand your point correctly, so essentially this is almost like a Blockbuster, like a Redbox type of setup. Like I don't necessarily need, and for those of y'all who I just may have aged a bit, I apologize. But yes, I was around during the Blockbuster era. But so essentially you don't need to pay just to be on the platform. I can make my account, I can get everything set up, but it's not until, I see a comedy movie that I like or a horror movie that I like, that you then pay for said video or for said piece of content.
And not only that, but you're directly supporting the artist on our platform. You're directly supporting the artist. That way it's a lot different. Knowing that, I think, makes the transaction feel different to a lot of people renting content, because people like the idea of supporting artists. And, at these price points of $1 or $2, $1 or $2 or whatever the price points are, geez, I mean, if you don't like a film and you spend $1 on it, how many times have we spent a lot more on actual Hollywood films and we want to walk out on those, or actually literally do walk out, So, at least here you're directly supporting an artist rather than some sort of giant blob of a bureaucracy studio system or something like that. So I think that's a good point too, that people need to keep in mind, that to those, and still some people, even friends of mine are reluctant to spend a penny ever. Like they want everything to be free unless it's their Netflix or their HBO. That right. They seem to have psychologically worked out. Okay, I'll spend money on that. But if it's by somebody who's not famous, they'll think, I'm not going to pay for that. Like, well, I kind of want to encourage people. Yeah, go ahead and pay for that. I know it's a self-serving encouragement, but at the same time, I do believe that helping artists, you don't have to help people you don't like, but at least if this is an artist you do like, why wouldn't you want to the same people who don't ask the price of a beer because they don't really care that much if it's $6 or $8 or $10 or $12, if they go to the bar, or at some places 15 or 18, whatever these days, they don't ask that price because they don't really worry about a couple bucks either way there. Well, and actually have no problem tipping a person why not also be willing to spend a buck or two on to help support someone who's making content that you like because you have selected? So that's kind of part of it too.
I think it's always interesting what people will turn their faces up at and paying for, but what they'll just with no question just be able to, even myself, I have to catch my sometimes, because it's always too interesting. I guess post that I came across was, it said something along the lines of a water bottle water at the gym may be worth like $1 or $2. At home, it's free. At the airport, it's $5, $6. But each and every time, if you're thirsty and you want water, you're going to grab it. So sometimes it's not even always about said product itself, but even the environment in which we're in and how we just become accepting of certain norm. Like when you get to the airport, you know that everything you normally pay for, whether it be your Wendy's or whether it be a phone charger or some headphones, you will pay almost triple the price if it means convenience, if it means comfort for your flight, if it means that you'll be okay, just to make it happen. But turn your nose up or just the audacity as something else that'll be much cheaper. And like you said, I think too, something in that I'm also hearing on top of the support for the content creators is just like something to also keep in mind, is that as you're paying for this content, as you're allowing these creators to monetize, you're also putting more money in their brand and their business to be able to become more creative. So it's not like, you're just paying for these things to stay stagnant, or to just, this person is just putting money in their pocket and that's kind of it. No, and I'm not going to speak for everybody. I'm going to speak for what we do over here and just the content creators that I know. But as they start to make more, as they start to monetize more, it's less that they have to come out of pocket. So now I can do more giveaways. I can do more events. I can put out more episodes. I can have that exclusive content. I'm subscribed to people's Patreon specifically because each month it gets better, or you include something else, or you throw something in there. People love exclusivity just the same, but people also love to follow a journey, to feel like they're personable, to feel like they're with you. So also keep in mind as you're listening to this, that these creators, these people who you're supporting, you're only allowing them to get better. Everybody had to have a start somewhere. Everybody had to be at that first festival and not really know what to do with their films or where to go. Everybody had to get that first piece of content on VidaFair, and maybe it didn't do what they wanted it to do. But as that second and that third piece started coming in, or as some people started to learn more about them, oh, well, it just got better. The ball started rolling, the wheels were turning. And from there, it was history. Now, with specifically what you do, because I want to kind of play devil's advocate here for the people who may have this question. So as you said,
Sure.
the money goes directly to those content creators. All the money that we're putting in is directly towards them. Take out all the fees and everything like that. So for someone hearing that, for someone knowing that they're going to get on this platform and knowing that whatever dime I put towards this is going to go towards said creator, where does VidaFair benefit in all of this? Because as much as I know, Bob, that you love the idea of bringing light and bringing awareness to brands, to small creators, to anybody, to business owners and entrepreneurs in general, I also know that love and that passion is also not going to keep your bills paid. That money does talk in some capacity, and that VidaFair has to make money to also be able to pay these creators, pay these coders, pay these programmers, keep things up and running. So where do you guys fit in that?
Oh no, it's a great question. Sure, of course. I mean, we have costs. So starting with just storage and serving costs, streaming costs. In other words, the cost for the computers that store the content and stream the content, and let alone development for, there's new operating systems that come along. The iOS, which is the iPhone operating system, has an upgrade, and it's happened before. We had to quickly upgrade our app to be compatible with the new iOS. So it's yes. The way our system works is though. So we originally, people ask us most often. They say, well, "What percentage do you take?" And I almost wish sometimes we had stuck with that, because it would just be an easy answer. We'd go, "Oh, this is it. We take 20% or 30% or whatever the answer is," and they go, "Oh, okay." But we actually wanted to be more fair to the content creators than that. This came to me through an anonymous Facebook post. This was a couple of years ago, and I was explaining our platform. When we were brand new, we were basically empty at that point in time. We had this platform, you do all the work, and then what do you have then? You have an empty working platform. You need to get some content to even get started, right? So, and it's hard a lot of people don't want to be the guinea pigs, right, with their work. Anyway, so I remember this, I don't remember who it was, but somebody on there said, well, why should you, if two people both have 10-minute videos and one person charges double the other person, why should you make more money on the video with the creator fee that's higher? Because you're still doing the same amount of service. You're still storing a 10-minute video and streaming a 10-minute video. So why is your platform fee, why would a percentage make sense? Why should a platform fee ultimately be higher just because the creator fee is higher. So I sat and thought about that, and it was like just digging into my brain like a worm. And eventually I was like, actually, this guy's made a great point. We should be profitable, but we should charge based on our costs, not based on what someone else wants their creator fee to be. What are our costs? Our costs are storage and streaming and software development, et cetera. But so basically, we do have a platform fee. It works out to essentially about $0.015 per minute of stream. So that means if you have a 10-minute video, the platform fee is about 15 cents. And that's now if your creator fee is $1, if your creator fee is $2, if your creator fee is $10, it's still a 15-cent platform fee because the duration is 10 minutes and it's 1.5 pennies per minute. So that's kind of how it works. Ultimately, the kind of retail price that the viewer ends up paying is just purely the simple sum of the platform fee and the creator fee. The creator fee sets their own fee, and then the platform fee is this $0.015 per minute.
And I love that approach too, because it also goes to show that at the end of the day, you're still trying to keep the creator in control. And I feel like a lot of times when it comes to the monetization route, that's when creators start to feel like they lose their control and they have to kind of conform, or like, we think about it from the music standpoint of things. Once a lot of independent artists go under these labels and how things just get tailored, and how now I'm being told when I can drop my work, what I can say, what I can't say. Whereas with you guys, you're saying, look, we still have to keep things rolling. We still want you guys to make as much money as possible and have as much success, but we still have to keep our lights on. We have to keep the roof over our head just the same too. So here, bear with us. But I love that too, because they can set it. They can pay for it. And that you said $0.015. I don't know anybody listening to this podcast that's going to argue with $0.015 to be able to still make what you can make on the back end. Almost seems uncapped, because as you said, now there are 500, but I could imagine as you continue this publicity run, and as you continue to do things, and as people just even word of mouth, because I feel like a lot of this can help propel it in the same. If I know a lot of content creators and I get on this platform and I have success with it and it does really well for me and it opens me up to a new method of monetization, why wouldn't I spread the word to other people? Why wouldn't I keep doing that? So I know as this continues to grow, it would only kind of pay for itself when it's all said and done. Now, to speak to the content on there, have you found that people are coming on VidaFair to search for particular people, or would you say particular natures of content? Like, are people coming on there because they know a particular comedian is on there and they want to see him and they want to watch him? Or are people kind of just maybe scrolling through Blockbuster or Redbox trying to find a movie or something to watch, and they're more so looking for categories of different pieces of content?
That's another great question. You're good at this, Tamara. I think you've done this before. So it's right now it's more that they know somebody who says, come look at my work. We hope that in the future, though, it will become more of the other side of it, where people will just be browsing, as we say, and where they're just looking around at stuff. And we do have categories that and the categories keep filling out. By the way, music video you mentioned music. Music video, I think, is a great category for us. And we don't have that many on there now. We have some. But it's pretty hard to make money in the music business these days. Breaking news. I hate to shock you with this information, but it's harder and harder for musicians to make money. I mean, what is Spotify paying? That's like 1/100 of a penny or something. So imagine a musician makes a music video and they could easily make, let's just say $1 per rental of their song. And the music video for it, but they can send it to thousands of their social media followers and theoretically make a whole bunch of money just from music videos like that. But yeah, in terms of I guess I hope I answered that question. I forgot. I had something else I was going to say, and I forgot what I was going to say.
It's all good. No, absolutely. No, that makes a lot of sense, because I think that that's important too, because as you said, as you look to build that trajectory, as you look to keep growing and scaling, that is definitely going to change. There are going to be people who are finding out about this website because, oh, my friend told me he was looking for something to watch one night. He found something funny on here, and he just kind of kept going. But there are also people who, oh, my boy's on here or my homegirl's on there. Oh, I'm definitely going to support. I'm going to do that. But it could also turn from one to the other. You could come on there looking for somebody specific and kind of support their content and do everything. But as we naturally do, we just scroll, or you go to the next page, or you click another category, and before you know it, you're down that dark hole. And before you're watching this content, you're watching stuff in the arts and drama, and you're watching stuff you never would have even thought. And I think that that's important too, that you guys are so open. That's another reason why I kind of asked the categories and stuff too, because I know you can come looking for something. Like I know we've all gone on YouTube or we've all Googled something, and then an hour later you're just like, well, how did I get here? How are we here? How are we down here? Now I'm subscribed to a channel I have no business. Like, what am I doing over here? I done wasted hours. I haven't even eaten yet. The lights are, the sun is down. My whole day just passed me, just on YouTube University, as they call it. So I love to hear that future outlook. And it's even
I never heard that phrase, YouTube University. That's I get it though.
Yeah, that's so pretty much as you kind of spoke to about YouTube just being free. They say, yeah, if you want to learn anything, if you want to become a master at something, go to YouTube University. So yeah, so that's what we were. I feel like I heard it really during the pandemic, because I feel like that's what everybody was just doing. It. We were spending so many man hours just on YouTube day in and day out. So that was cool.
I learned to tie my own bow tie tomorrow on YouTube.
On YouTube,
I could tie. I could. If I were wearing I actually have bow ties in the closet. I could put a bow tie on right now. I learned on YouTube. Yeah.
I'm still clipping on, so I need to get on YouTube and learn that same thing.
Yeah, it's on there. It's on.
Got you. Now with so I'm thinking even you kind of foreshadowed within this question just about the future and what you guys are looking to do. And even as you said, as you look to grow, as you look to scale, just new things that you have to come with it. But even with the industry that you're in, for the tech side of things, for the software side of things, you're always looking to stay ahead of the curve in a sense, or to make sure that you're compatible. As you said, you can't help when Apple is going to release an update, which it feels like they do every week at this point. And you have to make sure that your software, that your internal is compatible with them, or elsewise people get that first error message, it could turn them away. So when thinking about VidaFair, when thinking about all that you guys have done already, but all that you guys are reflecting on, all that you guys are kind of taking in from a feedback perspective, whether it be from people on the platform, people using it, people curious about it, is there anything that people can look forward to? You know, I like this question just because, as I said, there are going to be people who start this episode, they know me, they know the podcast, cool. They know you, they know that you're interviewing, cool. There are going to also be people that know neither one of us, know nothing, but they want to kind of find out, they want to now follow along this journey and kind of meet you where you are. So is there anything that VidaFair is looking to get into as we continue through the year, as we think about 2025, as you guys continue to grow? Are there any new categories, any things that you guys are experimenting with, anything we can look forward to?
Oh, that's a long list of things. Yeah, so I would say that the shortest term answer to that is a bunch of new categories of new kinds of shows and videos and films that we don't have. So we kind of grow in that. Also, while we're still a startup, we have great content, and I could recommend you some films right now that are just so beautiful that one of them makes me cry when I watch this film. It's really, really a great work on there. Nothing's really famous yet. We don't have anything famous. We kind of need that to kind of break out, I think. So that would be something maybe in a second half of 2024 I could be hopeful for. So new categories, something famous. After that, so right now, as I explained, we have the iPhone app and the Android app, and we have the website, but we don't have any native apps for Apple TV or Roku or Amazon Fire Stick or Samsung Smart TV type. So what you can do is you can still send it to I'm keep pointing because my flat screen TV is out of frame here. It's in front of me where I'm sitting. But if you can still watch content from VidaFair that you've rented on a flat screen, but you have to stream it with you get our app. You'd either use Apple AirPlay or what's called Google Chromecast, and that's the way to basically stream it from the phone to the TV. But it would be nice to have apps natively on the Rokus, the Apple TVs, the smart TV systems, in other words. So that would be maybe a 2025 thing to have, just out of curiosity, do you have one of those boxes? Like how would you watch HBO or Netflix or something if you were to watch it? Is it through something like an Apple TV?
Yeah. So, we actually do have an Apple TV, but I also have pretty much all Apple products. So I do use AirPlay a lot too when I am trying to stream things, but also with a lot of these new smart TVs now, the apps are like integrated in. All you have to do is like your TV, your Max's Prime Video. So we pretty much just use our LG or our Samsung, and we'll just go that way. So I think exactly what you're saying, that would be right on track, because like I said, people love that convenience, just love being able to just use the remote.
Exactly. And I do too. I know, because I do too. I love it too. So that would be a thing we could do. And then I would say then after that would be a little further along in the time horizon would be to be able to handle live. We don't do that right now. We basically are a way to monetize pre-recorded films and videos. But we don't have a way to do live yet. So that would be another, you've asked me what my future plans are down the line. It would include that.
Well, that would put a crazy spin on things too, because I know some people just love to, whereas they have that pre-made or that already done, they also just love that right then and there. And they also just love the idea of audience and people being able to kind of tap in with them or be with them like live, almost like this, like for my people who are on Facebook with me or LinkedIn with me. I think that would be pretty cool. So, obviously, we love to hear things like that, because it also lets us know that even though VidaFair is working right now, even though that you guys behind the scenes are making things happen, things are churning and going, you're always still thinking bigger picture. You're thinking years from now. You're thinking what's next. And I think that one is exciting to me, but it's also exciting to people who may be new to this in general. This is the concept that I said at the beginning of the podcast. I need this. So we're going to be talking offline. I'm definitely going to be following up with you even after this episode. I'm going to be going to Instagram right now, calling all my actors, my actresses, my filmmakers, my content creators. Y'all need to make an account tonight, and we need to get some things uploaded so that we can keep, because the more we build this, the more this could be our central hub, and this could be our community, because we're cultivating a community just the same. And we want people to recognize what comes with this, learn something with this. As you said, there are some gems and some masterpieces on there. Now, whether they're getting covered by Time Warner Media or Pixar or anything like that, that's okay. We're going to get there and we're going to figure things out. But that's not to say that everything has to have its start. Everything has to have that initial foundation to go from there. So before we officially close out, before we give people everything that they can find you on as far as VidaFair, social media, websites, everything.
Well, let me just respond to that quickly. Is that yeah, listen, and when we've designed it where people can have a channel and promote not just their particular video, but also they could promote their channel. So you could do that on a website, on an Instagram, on a tweet, or whatever X calls their posts these days. You can on Facebook, et cetera, on emails, on et cetera. You can promote your whole channel. And I'm a real person. If people want to give me feedback on our apps, please do it. We love. It's always sometimes hard to see things with fresh eyes if you've been around it too much, and that's something I've learned firsthand doing this. And so we love. It's hard. It's not easy taking on big tech, as I like to say. We need the help. We actually need that. So I actually would like to ask your audience to help with our platform, because we're new and we're trying our best.
Well, I think I know exactly what we're going to do as far as when we air this episode and when we publish it. So just stick with me. I got some creative things in my mind. My audience is very interactive and does not mind providing feedback. They do it with me all the time. So I'm sure that they'll do this just the same with you. But I love that you open yourself up in that regard, because it just lets you know that you're not the type of person who is just Bob's way or no way, or it's just, VidaFair is doing everything right. And, to tell me not, and you're not, no. You need those. I think some of the best feedback that I've gotten are from people who aren't a lick of experience when it comes to podcasts. They listen to an episode and here's what they have to say. As you said, sometimes when you do things natively and just routinely, it's easy for you. I know I got to get on here, record. I know how to edit. I know what I'm doing. But if somebody throws a monkey wrench in there and makes me switch something up a little bit, now I'm looking like, okay, wow, I've never thought about that, and then when you implement it, who knows? Some people have told me some things that I would not have thought of. It was a shot in the dark. I implemented or I did it, and now I actually like it. And now sometimes I forget that it's not mine. I have to pay that homage and pay that. So
good advice can come from anywhere.
I'm telling you.
And it's not to say all advice is good. Sometimes the advice doesn't make sense. So that's part of our job. But if you're not open to hearing advice from anybody, someone doesn't have to be credentialed or something. They can say something that's really smart. And if you ignore that stuff, you do it at your own peril.
Couldn't agree more. Now, I don't know. I'm going to say these last two parts are very important because I like both of them. So this first part, before we close out, which is the most important part, not because we're ending it, but because the closeout is a call to action. But before we get to that, do you feel like there's anything we have not touched on today, even any last words that you want to leave for the business owners, entrepreneurs, content creators out there, even if you want to speak to someone who may be a little apprehensive or on the fence about putting their content on VidaFair, signing up and checking some things out? Is there anything that you want to leave us with?
Sure. So when I say that we're focused on being fair, like anyone can close their account anytime they want. Anyone can suspend their videos anytime they want. They don't owe us another penny from that moment on. There's no subscription, no charge ever repeats with our platform. We own no content. We'll never make any claim to own any of the content. And so I also believe there is something of, and not to be too grandiose here, but kind of a moral calling to empowering people to make their own content for people that may love their work. Maybe I don't love it. Maybe you don't love it. Maybe there's some other audience that does. I don't know. Maybe somebody has a cooking channel for some sort of ethnic food that I would never even like or something, but like there's an audience for it. And I think there's there's something of a moral calling to empowering people to be able to follow their own dreams and make their own work and be able to make money from it. You know, one of the phrases we use is that monetizing content isn't greed, it's fairness. And I really believe that. You spend time and money making this content. It's not greedy to want to be compensated for your work. Yes, you can set too high a price, and that would be a mistake. But just to set some sort of price for your work, considering you spent time and resources on it, to me is absolutely fair. It's no different than spending time and resources making a sandwich that you sell to someone, and they have no problem paying for the sandwich. So why should they have a problem paying for the content that you've spent time and resources to make? So I think it's a moral thing. I kind of do.
I like that. I like that it's fairness. It's not greed. And I'm going to be the type of person to tell you to do both. Get the sandwich, watch the content. So we can do one and the same. But I think that's important. And it's an important picture to paint because it's transparency all around. And something that I'm really prideful about is brand awareness and brand transparency and just brand fairness and just not feeling like, you know, after listening to something or experimenting with something or talking with someone or working with someone that there's stones that were left unturned or there were things behind closed doors that you may not know, or it just leaves you feeling like kind of just, was that everything? Or is there like a hidden message? Is there a hidden agenda? Do I need to go into the fine print? But with you guys are laying it all out at the forefront. And I think that that's so important because the benefit is up to the person who takes advantage of it. And as you said, we don't want to tie any strings. We're not trying to twist your hand or anything like that. We're really just giving you everything, but we want to help you. And we want to put this out there because I too was in your shoes in some form or fashion. I just chose to act on it and move forward with it. So I love that, man. And I'm definitely very excited that I'm tapped in at this point in my journey, but I'm really excited for the future. I'm excited for when that live is implemented. I'm excited for when those new categories are coming. And I'm excited really to see VidaFair grow to the true platform that it will be, that I know it will be, and that I'm excited to be a part of just the same. Now, before we wrap up, before we close out, please give us everything you got, from websites to social medias to episodes to where people can just find out about the platform, get on the platform, explore the platform, where people can tap in with you on social media, can see what you guys are already doing and what you guys are looking to do.
Oh, please. It's a pretty easy, that's the easiest question you've asked all day, Tamar. I appreciate. So that's just at VidaFair. So it's 8 letters. You can say Vida if you want, VIDA. Then FAIR, as in fairness. I pronounce it VidaFair, but it's just VIDA FAIR. So that's on Instagram, that's on Twitter, that's on Facebook, it's on LinkedIn, it's on YouTube, and it's on Rumble. So I think that's 6 different platforms we have social media on. Please follow us on all of them if people are so inclined. Instagram, X, I guess I'll say, Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, and LinkedIn. And then, in addition to that, please not just download our app, but I would ask people to rate our app in the App Store. That's super helpful to us. And a lot of people don't think to do it, but we are new. You know, we need the help. We need the help to get out there so that the App Store sees that there's, interest and that kind of thing, and then suggests it higher up in their suggestion algorithm, that kind of thing. So yes, please get our apps. And then, sometimes when you're introducing a platform that has money associated with it, which is, a lot of times it's not that, right? A lot of it, I think it's a minority of the applications and the apps you download require you to pay something. But it oftentimes makes people skeptical. They're like, this, they think that we're going to like rip them off, or it's some sort of scam or something, or they'll see our tokens. I explained before, you can rent a la carte a video, just pay once, or you can use our grain tokens to, you buy a batch of them. The batch could be $6 or $11 or $20. It's not huge amounts of money, But you don't even have to do those. Even if you don't want to do that, you could just rent one video at a time, like I said, for like $1.99 or 99 cents or $2.99, depending on the video. The point I was making is there's some people that kind of get skeptical and think like, oh, this sounds like a ripoff to me. You'll see these keyboard warriors, these trolls or whatever trashing you on some sort of social media. And I just think to myself, and this is what I say in those situations, I'm like, why don't you just try us? Why don't you just try, spend maybe $1? What if you just tried $1 and see for yourself if our platform works the way we say, or, maybe $2. I don't know. Just try it. And well, you know what they'll find is it works perfectly fine. It's not a ripoff, and everything is good, and we're doing what we say we're doing. And so it is a different psychological mindset to get people to be like, think in terms, oh, okay, I am supporting the creator when I do this. I'm not just giving money to some company. I really am supporting a creator. And so that's why I like to emphasize that in these kinds of interviews, that make people remember they're mostly not paying us, even though we kind of have a vision. And I think in some, we're certainly trying to create also, but they're also paying the video content or the music video producer or the podcast host or the filmmaker or what have you, the comedian. They're paying them too. And so so anyway, that's a long-winded answer to how to find us, but yes, that's how you find us.
But we need every single bit of that, and I hear a lot in this interview, a lot in just your answers, from the passion to the transparency to just the want for others to succeed, and I feel like that's a selfless approach that not many adopt, and not even to adopt it is not what people stay consistent with. You can fake the funk, or you can put something out there, but is that the try and true? Is that consistently your mantra, even after you make those big bucks, even after you get on that grandiose scale and really become that big time name? And I think through and through, the more that you implement, the more that you work with, the more feedback that you get, because we're help us help you in a sense. The same way that you put this out there is the same way that you recognize it's not the perfect system, but I want this to be as close to perfect as possible, and y'all are going to be the ones to put me there. So Bob, I really have to thank you just for everything, one, that you're doing, just for coming on here today and really just livening up me and really just giving me the energy and really just giving me a go ahead, but really just to what you spoke to and just how you're being a resource, not only to myself, because this is something that I want to explore and I want to try out myself, but also to my audience, to my content creators, to everybody in that space, because I think we just have a different and a newfound appreciation for it, because it's not the easiest thing to do. It's not easy staying consistent. It's easy to do what you love, but life happens, life hits us all just the same. So from Down to Business to VidaFair, we are thanking you. We are absolutely here in support of everything that you have going on, and here to help however we can. And then to everyone out there, to everybody who continuously taps in with us, has shown love with us, whether it be social media, with the grant, with everything of the sort, with the merchandise that we got coming. Look, I thank y'all. I love y'all. Please just keep it up. Stick with us. This has been another episode of the Down to Business podcast. Here with Tamar Turner. All right, I think we are.
That was a delight, man. You're a good host.
Good. I'm glad you.